I've been looking forward to Manny coming back on the show with Arora Law Firm since he told us that he's representing Anna. I had no idea who Anna was. Nate's like, you got to watch Inventing Anna on Netflix. I'm like, all right. I can't stop watching it. I'm not through it yet, so no spoilers. I'm the episode 4 is where I'm at right now. Manny, before we get to questions from listeners and voicemails and all that other stuff, we've got to talk about this Anna woman. Oh my God. She's the most intriguing woman I think I've ever heard, like in real life. She's real, right?
Yeah, she's real, very intelligent.
Yeah. I mean, does she sound the way she does on the Netflix show in real life?
I haven't seen the Netflix show. I think I may be one of the only people in the world, my wife and kids, and everybody's seen it. Even my parents talk about it. But she's got sort of a high-pitched sort of voice. I assume that's what's happening on Netflix.
Nate, how does she talk? She talks like, hello. I mean, the actress that plays her is phenomenal.
Ruth.
Hello, Manny. Are you going to represent me? It's something like that.
Well, she's a little bit of a high-pitched German-sounding voice, but that's...
She is a 90-year-old woman.
Well, I mean, it was like I was close. I was kind of close.
Not really. She's talked about it on one of the late night shows, and she had to make her voice sound like she was a Russian, because I think she's American or British or whatever. But she had to make her voice sound like she was from Russia, or was from Germany and then learned Russian or vice versa. So she had to create this sound of if she was from a foreign country, learning the language of another, from another foreign country. So it's very good.
Because she's German born.
No, Russian born.
Russian born.
Grew up in Germany.
I had it backwards.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Loves New York.
Yes.
So if let's just get everybody up to speed. She is in jail. Is she still in Rikers?
No, she got paroled out, but immigration picked her up. And as of right now, because she thinks the case wasn't done properly, and I tend to agree with her, that's why we're doing the appeal, she could self-deport and continue to fight the stuff and not spend a day in jail if she didn't want to. But she sat in ICE jail for a year just to prove a point and to fight through it. So that's kind of impressive that somebody would do that just to prove a point. I don't know if I have the dexterity to sit in jail for a year or more.
Well, just through 3 episodes, this woman does.
I mean,
that's
she's
the whole
tough,
gimmick.
she's smart.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know if it's a gimmick. I mean, I'm just telling you. I'm telling you, you could be free tomorrow and still fight everything that you're fighting, but from Germany. But she's like, heck no, I didn't do it. I'm going to stay here. I'm going to fight everything. And, you can respect that, especially when it's costing her so much.
So she originally... The reason why there's a Netflix documentary and she originally had the legal issues and went to jail was because as she was frauding people out of money, right?
Right. So in the end, she was convicted of $198,000 in fraud, $100,000 from a bank. The bank charges you $100,000 to do a due diligence on you to give you a bigger loan for a hotel that she was going to be working on. And the thing that I don't think was presented at the trial is when you get these construction type loans, it's not like it comes into your personal bank account. The bank pays it out to the contractors or whoever as the invoices come in. But the funny thing was apparently you have to pay a fortune for a bank to do due diligence on you. That was $100,000 in fraud because it didn't get paid back. And then the rest of it was mostly just hotel bills.
Well, in her case, because when she got Alan Reed, a.k.a. Goose from Top Gun, Anthony Edwards, to be her advisor. It's just amazing that this woman, without a cent to her name, knows and hangs out with the most powerful people in New York, if not the world, financially, even probably politically. She's at one time roommates with the guy that put on the Fry Festival or Fire Festival.
Yeah, Fire Fest, yeah.
Like, where did that come from? I was like, where's the other guy? What happened to Chase? Which was her boyfriend / partner in crime throughout this whole thing. But there was this is where I'm up to in episode 3. They started fighting over who was going to give her the loan, knowing that they think there's going to be this huge profit. So when Alan Reed goes into, I think it was Citibank, and says, what are you doing? You can't turn her down. So he comes back and apologizes and says, we are not only going to give you the loan, but we're going to give you $200,000 of a line of credit. Is that true?
I can't say. I mean, it is what it is in the show, but the show has the transcripts from the trial.
No.
And so they're trying to follow it. Like I said, I haven't seen it, so I try to stay non-biased one way or the other and just stick to the facts that
That's
are
a
on
good
the
idea.
transcript.
At the beginning of each episode, they say, based off of true events, except for the stuff that's not true. So you don't know what's true and what's not true. So I'm just regurgitating what the Netflix doc is.
Yeah, I'm sure Netflix has done some great stuff, and I've seen a lot of their documentaries in the past, and it's always well done.
Yeah.
And this actress is fantastic. I liked her from Ozark. And shout out to the guy that says I look like an Ozark lawyer, so I appreciate that. It's probably the best compliment I ever got.
Well, there's a star-studded cast because the woman that plays the reporter from the Manhattan is the girl from back in the day, who's been a working actress for all these years. You just probably didn't recognize her. You have, I don't know who plays the boyfriend. I don't know who plays the other friends and the girls that are involved.
Actually, the boyfriend, the reporter is David Lowell's son. You remember David Lowell, your old tennis partner?
Shut up.
Yeah, Chris Lowell. It's on the credits.
How
He plays one of the reporters, is what David has told me.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, that should be an easy get for the show. I was
This
just
guy's what, quarter mile from your house.
yeah, I just talked to Lowell the other day. Actually, he was like, "You got to get." He helped us get some people on to talk about Ukraine. Because he's gone over to Chernobyl and all that stuff. And so he texted me just the other day. He texted me and he says, "How can I listen to?" It was Philip Grossman we had on. He's like, "How do I listen to Philip?" So I told him how you do it. I have to walk him through it. And then he writes me back this long text as only our buddy Dave Lowell could do. He goes, "You got to get me on so I can tell the people what's really happening over there and how much bullshit it is." You go, because, if you follow him on Facebook, he goes on his political rants and it's just nauseating. I'm like, "Dave, let me think about it, buddy. We'll see." But I didn't know his son was in the show. That's awesome. Yeah. So the woman, Anna, I don't think had any malicious intent behind doing what she was doing. I think that she really meant well, to be honest with you.
The projects were real, and the thing is, had the lawyer presented some of the projects that she had going and the money that was coming in, because she's gotten so popular and social media wise, people were giving her money left and right.
Yeah.
Everything would have been paid back. It's just a matter of the influential people leaning on the DA to get things done, and that's just how it works in America.
Yeah, Nate, you've watched the whole thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So don't go after episode 3, but like when you look at her, what do you see?
Just super narcissistic, thinks that she's something special. She's better than everyone else. I mean, that's how she's trained herself to believe that she is better than everyone else. And that's why she's able to get away with this stuff, because it's one of those fake it till you make it. If you act like walk into a store and just take anything, if you act like you know what you're doing, they'll just let you go with it. I mean, that's kind of her personality.
So you paint her as the villain.
Oh yeah, I mean, she's scamming people out of money. Even though she has drive because she wants this project, because she thinks she's destined to make this thing, but she's just another scam artist that's trying to play it off like she has these grandiose intentions.
See, I don't know if I agree with that. I know Manny's not going to agree with that, but
Well, I didn't watch the show. I mean, everybody's super nice to me and very straightforward because they're in trouble. So I don't always get the whole picture.
I would be the first to jump on that bandwagon, the what Nate just rattled off. And it might surprise you when I say I disagree with that. I actually think that I don't disagree with the narcissism, but that's a certain mentality that people do in order to get to a certain level. You have to brainwash yourself to have a certain level, this is an uber level of confidence. So I think that in the end, she honestly meant well, even though it doesn't come across that way. I believe that she was going to pay the
I think
people off.
what happens is it's like the NFL draft's coming up. I mean, you just have this insane amount of confidence. I'm the best or I'm whatever. But
Yeah.
there's a magnetism where she attracts you to her. Like you actually genuinely like her. And
Oh,
these
yeah.
people want to do these things for her.
Yeah.
And nobody's proven that any of it was just fraudulent. The money was just going down the toilet. It's just, it all got compressed in a time frame. Had there been 6 or 8 more months, maybe everything goes through, the project comes around. The contractors had been signed up, lined up, everything, the property had been found. It was just a matter of getting it financed, and people would have gotten their money back. It's just when somebody gets embarrassed or mad and they call the right political people, things happen.
except for all the hotels that she stayed in and probably had no plans of ever paying them back because she would use, I don't know, expired credit cards, or she wouldn't give a credit card. And my father cut me off. I mean, she's just lying at that point. I mean, in my opinion, from watching the show,
Well, the hotel
she wasn't paying those people.
Nate, it's just like, if you've ever gone to a hotel, I mean, they check like 3 different types of credit cards and ID and everything for me to get in. So I'm not sure how one can be that stupid to let somebody in and ring up that kind of a bill. So sometimes I always say a fool when their money's essentially parted, but the woman's charismatic and people are lined up to help her.
That's what I can appreciate. I mean, I've been around some really good manipulators in my life, and I would even chalk myself up as a decent manipulator. This is next level. I mean, to walk in to that room with those types of people and want to accomplish a $40 million+ project without a dime to your name and pull it off, or almost pull it off. I don't know what happens at the end, but that's like, all right, look, I want to give you a pass. Just don't do it again, because that was pretty impressive. I mean, that's pretty. And she did. This was the other thing that surprised me about her, is she didn't sell sex. Like, she's an attractive woman. There's no doubt about it. She dressed the parts, but not overly sexy. She was, business attire, whatnot. But she didn't go around, at least that I've seen, up to where I've watched, sleeping with all these people to get what she wants.
No, I mean, I don't know if she's attractive or not. It depends on how you look at it. But she was just confident and had a personality, and you just kind of wanted to be her friend. It wasn't like some supermodel kind of situation where you're saying you're using your sex to get something.
Yeah.
She actually used her brain, and people liked it.
She sold what those guys wanted, and that was money. All those bankers and investors and stuff, they don't see sex, they see money, and she knew that. If she was looking for some job at some hotel or something, yeah, maybe, but she knows that these guys are just money hungry. They see dollar signs when they see this rich German heiress coming in, so I think that's why she didn't need to. They just wanted to be a part of whatever she was a part of, because they thought she was rich.
Well, there was the question if she was sleeping with Alan Reed. Then there's the kind of feel that the doc puts out that one of the advisors that she has to get on board for the Anna Delvey Foundation, very attracted to her. It's like, oh, she's just got some. There's the blonde-haired guy, You weren't sure if he was gay or not, but he was like, God, there's something about her. So there's all these little hints at there's that sexy feel, but she's not selling it, which is, I think, commendable. I mean, she knows she's good looking. She's not over the top attractive, but she's smart, which makes her even more attractive. It's really good. I mean, that's good. Yeah. I really want to go with you to New York when you go see her next time.
Okay.
I would sit there and I would be a fan. I'd be like, dude, saw the documentary. Is she standoffish like she is in the documentary?
She's very kind to me, and I've had no problems. I talk to her probably once or twice a day, so I'm hoping some of the folks on our team can get her out on bail for the immigration thing. If that's great, I'll talk to her and maybe fly her down here, and you can actually meet her.
Yes!
But that's a long way to go for me.
Nate
has to come back from Mexico for that one, though.
Oh, dude, Nate. would you not like a fly in, even if it was for a day, to go out to dinner with Manny and Anna?
Oh, yeah, totally.
Yeah, okay, cool. All right.
Well, I want Brandon because he's been quiet.
Well, Brandon, you're not watching this, are you, Brandon? I was getting ready to ask you that.
No, I remember seeing the previews a while back, and everyone was just like bashing her for her terrible accent. Ruth, what's the actress's name? The one that plays Ruth?
Oh, the one that's playing Anna, that plays Ruth in Ozarks.
Yeah,
Julia Garner.
Yeah, I just saw everyone was like bashing her for her terrible accent in that movie or the TV show.
It's funny because it's actually really good, and they're just not understanding what she's doing. I mean, it sounds bad, but it's supposed to sound like she's learning another language from a different language. So that's funny.
The way, I mean, outside of the story, which is fascinating, absolutely fascinating, between that one and that British guy documentary I'm watching, Jimmy, whatever.
World.
No, it's he was like the top radio DJ in Britain, and then he became a child molester or something, and I don't know. I just started watching it, so I'm back and forth on these. But the way that this Inventing Anna is put together, the acting, the writing, Even the cinematography, like there's little camera shots here and there, is really, really good. I mean, we're building it up and you can't watch it. I'm sorry.
That's okay. I saw the what is it, the Tinder Stalker show, and that was fantastic.
Yeah, the Tinder Swindler.
Tinder Swindler. Sorry.
Yeah, Nate was getting me to watch that, and I kind of fell off of it. I didn't quite jump on. It didn't.
Oh, I thought that one was almost better because he actually was trying to scam the people, and he did do it. I thought that was interesting.
Scam. Yeah, he set up the whole websites, internet, renting planes, all that stuff.
Here's the problem that I have with shows like that. The ID channel does this often with their shows, and it irritates me. I hate being lied to when I know I'm being lied to. It's one thing to lie to me and I don't know, and it's fine, and I can believe you. Like the Inventing Anna stuff. I'm believing everything that's coming across, right? I'm sure there are a lot of things that aren't true or I'm being lied to. I just don't know. That's fine. The Tinder swindler, these women, the one in particular that meets the guy on the first date, gets on the airplane, and she pawns it off like, I just thought we were in love. No, you're a gold digger. Just say that's what you were interested in, the money. Instead, she's trying to make herself seem like this prude, and she's like, stop lying to me. And all the girls, all the women that did that, you're all stupid. Why would you fall for this? You fall for it because you're gold diggers. That's why you're falling for it.
You just like Anna because she's a female, because this is the male version of it, because Anna's doing the exact same thing. All these guys are just falling over and believing dumb shit that they should have never done only because she's a woman or because she is supposedly wealthy.
Well, I don't know about that, because the Tinder swindler is looking to, for sex and dating and all that. He wasn't really looking for money, was he?
Yeah, because he was using one lady's money to finance the next round of whoever he was kind of going after to get their money. It was a pyramid, or like a perpetual kind of pyramid scheme kind of thing.
It's a giant party. He just needed to pay for it. It's not like he was pocketing it. It was just having a good time from one woman to the next.
If I worked for you, Manny, and the Arora law firm, and with your defense attorney team, I would just go through what's trending on Netflix documentaries and just call them up and say, hey, do you need some representation? That's what every show is about. People that need you.
Yeah, well, we don't want to solicit, but thankfully we've had cases all over the country, and that's how Anna got referred to us. And it's going to be fun. It's interesting, and I'm trying to have her keep a low profile. I guess I slipped out last time we were talking about any new cases, and I just
you didn't tell me. I think I read it somewhere and I brought it up, or I saw it somewhere, I heard it somewhere.
Yeah, my wife even yelled at me because I didn't tell her, because I don't talk about work. So Good Morning America had called our house looking for me, and she's like, "What in the hell?"
Yeah, you tell Good Morning America they have to go through me to get to you, and I'll just talk for you. And there might be some things that I'll say out of line and just correct me afterwards.
So it'll be more exciting and better TV.
Well, if Anna at any time can come on with you, obviously, that'd be great. I mean, we're a pretty low profile podcast, so you can.
Well, your membership will go up.
Yeah, I guarantee our subscribers would be through the roof if we had the exclusive with Anna Delvey. All right, one last question. We'll move on. Does her dad exist?
Yes.
Okay. Is her dad wealthy?
Hey, just watch the show.
Okay. All right.
You can figure out. Yeah, our parents live in Germany.
Okay. All right. So that's a big part of this.
Yeah. That's the last 2 episodes.
Because I found out Peter Heineke's not real. I mean, she $4.99, some voice changing app. She was calling and telling him that she's wiring the money, and she, the voice app. And I was like, that's pretty good. Pretty damn smart.
That app couldn't have been that good. This guy had to have been an idiot.
Yeah, but that's the thing. They're all idiots. How can you be that successful, that rich, that powerful, and that much of a go-to individual in New York City, the city that the world revolves around, and be that stupid that you're falling for a voice-changing $4.99 app on iTunes? You're a moron. Like, you're really, really stupid.
Yep.
Yeah. But one more thing. In the third episode, when they introduce Alan Reed and the relationship with Alan, this is her go-to advisor for this project. I liked how they put the positive spin on, even though he was being hornswoggled for the most part, the effect, the positive effect that she had on his life was, I thought that was really clever to put that into the documentary. Like, his life was very mundane, very boring. He and his wife, hi, hello, roommates, that kind of thing. And then the more he was around Anna, the more livelier and younger he became. I thought that was cool that they pointed that out.
Well, in real life, Anna does make you feel good about yourself. She's just one of those people that has that personality. There's very few people I've come across in my life that do that for you, even if you don't know her that well.
Really?
She just has whatever that thing is, and it's not anything sexual or whatever. It's just a nice person. I mean, it's like it comes across, you're intelligent.
I believe that, yeah.
And you're just like, she's cool.
I think next time Manny comes back from New York, he's going to have blonde tips in his hair. He's going to have his collar popped.
It's weird, though, because she, at certain times, she would be not like everybody wants to be friends with her, but really throughout the documentary, she's kind of an asshole. She's like, oh, you're fat, you're dumb. How, like she's just belittling people the whole time, but everybody is like falling over and they love her and they don't want to out her because she's my friend. She's a good person. So it's funny how everybody thinks she's this great, or, said that she's a great person and a good friend, but that she treats everyone like shit.
The funny thing is, and that's a good psych lesson, is that even though people don't want to know the truth, especially the brutal honesty, right? The brutal truth, she tells them the brutal truth, even though 75, if not more %, she's lying about other things. So when she says, you're fat, you really are fat, they get it. So they believe that because it's in plain sight, which makes them believe everything else she says. I don't think she knew she was doing that. It's just brilliant. Yeah. It's psychologically brilliant. It's fascinating, absolutely fascinating.
It's amazing how somebody in their 20s can do stuff like that I could never even think about doing.
25 years old.
And you walk into this room with all these important people, I'd be just like, oh my God, do I belong here? Versus I own the room.
Well, see, here's the funny thing. So as a kid, I would do things very similar. I would manipulate adults, more adults that I did not know, because I didn't like how kids were always treated. Give you an example. I'm at Kitty City, a toy store, Glen Burnie, Maryland. I was like 7 years old. I'm in the aisle. There's like 3 other parents there with their kids. The people that worked at Kitty City would go to them and not me. And I had money to spend in my wallet. And it just bothered me. And it happened everywhere, every toy store, KB and all these other places. So I would approach them and ask to speak to the manager. And then I would say, don't you think because of how I've been treated, you should give me a discount? And they would give me a discount. So, I'd get, 10, 15, 20% off or something. So I learned at a young age how to manipulate. The problem is when you get caught, all right? If you get caught in the manipulation, then what do? That's where the pro comes in. Most of us would freeze up and just put our hands up, raise the white flag, run away. Anna, as we saw with Alan Reed, she was like, now it's even more of a challenge. She went back twice, 3 times, 4 times, 5 times until she got what she wanted. That's amazing. Absolutely amazing. So I don't know. I'm a big fan. I'm Team Anna. Nate's not. Nate's not.
No. Yeah. I'm team inventing Anna. I think that's a great show, but I know she's kind of kind of a snobby bitch in the show, or that's how she comes off with.
Well, can you not? I'm trying to get an interview with her, with the only person that can get us the interview, and you're just destroying this poor woman. Can you not do that, please?
I don't think she's going to listen to our podcast. I don't know if she has access to it, but I'll apologize to her.
Manny's her handler right now. She's probably going to call him. There's a really good chance she will call him while he's on the show right now. Not that he's going to put her through, but I can't have in the background Nate in Mexico going, well, snobby bitch. I mean, what are you doing?
If anything, she would respect that because I'm telling her how it is and I'm being honest with her. She's actually going to be my friend after this.
Maybe, possibly. That's a very, very good point. All right. If you are in need of a defense attorney, Manny, Arora, theAuroraLawFirm.com. They're the best in the business, located here in Atlanta, but practice nationwide. Specializing in criminal law, of course. We take your questions. Manny comes on a couple times throughout the month. The voicemail, which we'll get to here in just a little bit. Some from social media. Let's start out here. If drugs are sent to a lab for testing and the drug tests positive for other drugs, also, can you be charged with all? The drug was heroin, but lab tested for cocaine and something else as well. Now the police are trying to charge me as if I had 3 separate drugs instead of the initial drug they found, which was heroin. That's Mike and Austell.
Well, it's kind of interesting. As long as they legally seized what they thought was heroin or some type of contraband, if it tests for different things, then you're on the hook for all of it. The interesting thing I would ask is, were they packaged differently, or is it just a mixture of cocaine, heroin, and something else? Because I've not heard of that one before. But yes, you could be charged for all of it. They'd have to put in weights to determine what the severity level would be, if they can figure that out. But short answer again is yes.
God, wouldn't that suck if you bought, maybe just a little weed from the guy in the corner and you got in your car, and if you got busted, it'd be a slap on the hand or something. And you find out the drug dealer slipped in some heroin in the bag, and you don't know the difference. There's just this brick sitting in the bottom. You get arrested for it, and you end up spending 15 to 20 years behind bars.
Well, if you had a brick in Georgia, you'd be doing 25 to 30.
25 to 30.
Yeah, 25 minimum.
All right. I was at a friend's home helping them move. Her and her roommates began arguing, and that's when police arrived and detained her. I found out she was detained due to a warrant for her arrest. Drugs, which was meth and heroin, were in her home, and I was detained by police because they claimed I had a vial on me that contained over 200 grams. After discussing with my friend, she states the substance was water, but there may have been residue inside the vial, which could be the cause to it testing otherwise. I did not have the vial in my possession, but the police claim I was sitting on it and charged me with the full amount. They proceeded to charge her with a +1 gram. That's Tammy in Stockbridge.
Well, the full amount would be my question. So we said 200 grams of water. If it's 200 grams of anything, generally it's called drug trafficking. In our state, anything over 28.5 grams, which is an ounce, becomes drug trafficking. But if it's water, I don't know why they would have charged him with it. They field test these drugs, and the field test isn't admissible in court. That just tells you if there's some type of contraband there. When the drug lab test comes back, if they actually test for residue, then you'll have a problem. Otherwise, you should be cleared and the charges should be dismissed. You have this equal access issue. If there's a vial just sitting on the sofa, I mean, unless you're literally sitting on it, which makes it look obvious, like you just shoved it underneath your pants or something, you have a very, very defensible case.
Do you ever tell, clients that come to you with these types of questions, the first thing out of your mouth is, just don't do drugs. You won't have these problems. Stop doing heroin.
Stop drugs and guns pay for my kids' college. So, even though I might not be for it, I have a vested interest.
What are some gun cases, especially now that the governor here in the state of Georgia has said, hey, look, you don't have to have a permit anymore, which I think is ridiculous. And I'm very much pro-gun, by the way, but I think that's just stupid.
No, I'm pro-smart. If you're smart, then I understand that you can carry a gun and be proper with it. But, I mean, it's just gotten ridiculous. Now we don't even have to fill out the form and pay the government the $20 for your permit. You can just carry it around to bars, to wherever you want to go. I mean, it'll be more business for me, but it just makes the whole community dangerous, and nobody wants that.
Okay, so what kind of business would you get from that?
There's going to be all kinds of aggravated assaults, shootings, stuff like that. If I point a pistol at you, that's a felony aggravated assault, 1 to 20. I mean, business is going to go through the roof. So the more crazy people and the crazy laws that come out there, it's a windfall for us. But that's not good for society at all, and I want to live in a safe place. They always say defense lawyers want this and that. Nobody wants to be victimized. Nobody wants to get hurt. Nobody wants to have somebody, shoot a gun at them because they flipped them a bird in traffic just because you're, angry. Things are going to get out of control. And it's unfortunate. I mean, we already incarcerate more people than anybody else in the world, and it's just going to keep getting higher.
And his mindset, the thought process, especially for those that live outside of Georgia and are listening, is, he says, now you bad people, you criminals that have guns, you'll see everybody's going to have a gun. Well, that's not the case. Look, a smart firearm owner is the best firearm owner. But if anybody can have a gun, but they're not going to know what to do with it. They're not going to know how to shoot it. They're not going to know if the safety's on. They're not going to know how to load it. They're not going to know.
Jason, have you ever seen a Western?
Sure.
If the bad guy's already got the gun on you, it's not like the gun in your holster is going to help you, or the gun in your glove compartment is going to keep you from getting carjacked. In all my almost 30 years of doing this, when people have guns, including a case that just happened in Forsyth County, it ends up shooting somebody in the house or an accidental discharge. I mean, aside from a convenience store here and there, I've never seen anybody successfully defend themselves with a gun, because either you freeze up under that pressure, or the person's got the draw on you. You don't have time to, go get your gun or unlock it out of your safe or get it out of your glove compartment. So
Yeah.
The answer isn't more guns protect you or make it safer as far as that goes. If we actually had some rules for responsible gun ownership, I think the price of the gun for the criminals would be too high of a cost to do it. Like Australia, maybe 30, 40 years ago, had a huge mass shooting, sort of like we did at Newtown. The next day, just canceled all the guns. Eventually, they got them all off back from people that paid them back for it. And it's so expensive that the average street criminal can't afford a gun. Yeah, if it's a cartel or something like that, sure, that's fine. They're going to be able to get what they want. But you're not going to get mugged and shot for $20 in your gas at the gas station or something like that.
It's kind of like what they're doing with tobacco, especially in the northern states. If, hey, look, we want you to stop smoking. That's why each pack is $10. Right. On the other side, the argument with the guns is that it's our right, it's our constitutional right.
Well, I just want somebody to read the Second Amendment, because everybody wants to be this sort of Fox News textualist as to what the Constitution was. Well, the gun rights were out there because we were fighting, and we didn't want people coming into our homes,
right?
The encroaching enemy necessarily. At the same time, if you read the Constitution, I mean, the soldiers could come into your house and take over, things like that. That's why we built the Fourth Amendment and all this other stuff. It isn't meant for, hey, you can walk around with an Uzi, as far as it goes. This was actually in the context of when we wrote it. We're in the middle of a war trying to get our freedom, and that's why you could have weapons and you could do these kinds of things.
Yeah, if you've ever seen the movie The Patriot with Mel Gibson, that's exactly what it was.
Right. Plus, you hunted and you did all that stuff. You didn't go to McDonald's to get it. I mean, there was different issues.
And the other argument that I read and I hear and I see is, why do I have to be on some registry? Why do you have to have my information, have a gun? Well, nobody has an issue, registering their car. Nobody has an issue getting a driver's license.
How about your phone?
Well, I'm getting there. I was like, nobody, I have a whole laundry list off the top of my head. Nobody has a problem giving information to be on social media. Nobody has a problem registering your phone. You do that automatically when you turn on the damn thing.
I mean, I can't even go to Publix without scanning a card that knows exactly what I want, so the coupons come up on the back of my receipt where I'm at. I mean, you have to have a hell of a lot more testing to get a driver's license than to carry a gun where you could just...
Right.
It's crazy.
And that's why I don't understand, for responsible, smart gun owners, which I'd like to think I'm one of them, where we wouldn't just say, hey, look, we want this to be an exclusive club, not filled with dummies that make us look bad, because it gets tiring to fight for... the right to have firearms, and so we don't look bad. We should be able to have firearms. I have no problem. Register it. Take all my serial numbers. I have no problem paying the state $25 for a concealed permit. I mean, it's
right. Putting the requirements doesn't mean they're taking away your right to have it. They just want you to actually do something to earn it.
Right.
I think there's a big difference between that.
Anyway, all right. After nearly 30 years of marriage, here's the next one. My hostile ex-spouse is holding his threat of quote-unquote outing me for being in a relationship with her when she was 16 and I was 20. This is nearly 30 years ago. We were in a steady relationship until we married and remained married for 23 years. She had some bad legal advice from her coworkers and no attorney, and nearly every gotcha she tried to spring on me to coerce money and or other support has failed miserably. Is there a statute of limitations for this? Jesse and Decatur. These are good.
Yeah, most sex crimes, if you're under 18, is when you turn 18 plus 7 years, so the time's come and gone. And also, based on the current law, I think if you're 16, you may be able to consent. They change it from 14 to 16. I don't do too many of these types of cases where it may not be statutory rape anymore. But regardless, if it's been that many years, usually the sex crime statute of limitations is 7 years after the age of majority.
Yeah.
So he's free and clear. Don't get blackmailed by your ex-wife.
Yeah, that's one of those senior freshman type of relationships.
Those are Romeo and Juliet, so that's 18. And if you're within 4 years of the person and you're 18 or under, then it's a misdemeanor if you're having a relationship.
What's the youngest girl you ever dated, Nate? Don't worry, Brandon. I'm not going to ask you.
Maybe 13, but I was also 13.
Oh, okay.
Hypothetically. Right?
This is getting weird.
No, I've never really dated anyone more than like a year younger than me, I guess.
You weren't like a senior dating a freshman guy?
Yeah. Oh, I guess I dated a sophomore when I was a junior, senior. So yeah, like a year or two, I guess.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, but nobody significantly younger.
All right. Should I ask Brandon? Brandon?
I mean, I didn't date girls super younger than me. Like Nathan. I mean, I guess I dated a 10-year-old when I was 10.
You really were dating at 10?
Yeah, 5th grade was when I had my first kiss.
Okay. Well, I asked that because, as a senior, I was dating a freshman for a little while, right? I broke up with my girlfriend, and there was this freshman who was just whatever. And, you look back at it now, it was like I was 17 at the time, and she was, I think, 14 or 13 or something like that. And, I mean, you talk about it now as an adult, and you're like, that's weird. But it's the school thing, The
times have changed.
And that's also the thing. It's like, oh, the fresh meat is coming in, the freshmen. That's what you do. I don't think that's the case anymore.
Well, just keep it within 4 years, and you should be okay. If the parents want to charge you, and the police come, then it's a misdemeanor.
Do you get a lot of those cases?
No, you don't see too many of those, but I mean, it happens.
Yeah. Yeah, they're not in the news as much anymore. Either the teacher's sleeping with the students. We don't see much of that anymore.
Well, hopefully, they either got better with it or they've stopped doing it.
Did you ever have any of those cases?
Teacher sleeping with a student?
Yeah.
Yeah, I've had 1 or 2 over the years.
Yeah. How'd that work out?
Generally not good because it's not supposed to.
How do you I'm guessing you defended the teacher.
I used to prosecute some, and I prosecuted a couple of preachers that were doing things they shouldn't have been doing. But yeah, I defended a teacher or 2 out there. And it's all consensual, but it can't be consensual because they're either your students. So then the age issue and the consent doesn't matter. Like if you're over 16, generally you could consent to have sex with an adult.
Yeah.
But if it's a teacher or somebody in a position of authority over you, then it's a different set of rules.
Right. But you go in and that, I mean, it's like, this is awkward.
Like you're an 18-year-old senior. You could be sleeping with your teacher all you want. That's completely legal, except for the fact that they're your teacher, and that makes it a crime.
And you got all straight A's. Yeah. You can't have.
Well, I mean, I guess at least in that one class.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Is that one class? You prosecuted, I'm guessing, a Catholic priest. How difficult was that?
It wasn't difficult. I mean, it wasn't like something from 30 years ago. This is just, kids over time that decided to, come forward.
Wow.
And it's a tough case, but when the gentleman started showing up with his preacher collar on to court, I was like, well, I could just sit here and an orangutan could prosecute this case now, because when he showed up with his preacher outfit, I was like, yeah, he's done.
Well, why?
I don't know. People think that they may. It's like when you wear, like I'm retired military, and if you wear your military uniform to court and stuff like that, you're just doing it to try to curry favor. I think that's what the gentleman thought. It just never works that way.
So is that how the judge looks at it? Is like, you don't have to, they're dressing up. They're thinking they're going to swindle me.
Well, it's a jury situation, but yeah, I mean, to me, it's pretty obvious. I mean, people see it, and I think it's just a little slap in the face when you've been charged to show up that, hey, I'm a preacher, I'm holy and all that stuff.
Good advice for you, Brandon, because you feel that you need to dress up to go to the bank for them to take you seriously. So next time you're in a courtroom when you screw up, which I would put money, it's going to happen. Don't wear your tweeter, wetter, sprinkler outfit, whatever you guys wear out there on the streets.
Got to wear my bank pants.
Got to wear your
Gotta
bank
get
pants.
nice and pressed and ironed and everything and steamed.
Bank pants and your filthy sneakers and your Clueless 2 t-shirt. All right. If I hire a lawyer in Georgia and I feel he isn't doing his job, can I fire him and also get my money back? That's Chad and Marietta.
You can always fire the lawyer. It depends on what your contract says. But if somebody's done a flat fee and you decide to fire them, you could still ask for a refund back depending on how far they are into the case.
Uh-huh.
And if the lawyer declines to do it, you can always file what's called a fee grievance against the lawyer with the state bar. And that's a very useful tool if you want to try to get some of your money back, assuming you hired somebody and you fired them 6 months before trial. Arguably, you should be able to get some of your money back.
All right, let's hear some of these voicemails. By the way, you can always leave us a message on the BS hotline, something for the show if you want it played. And definitely any questions for Manny, 404-369-3825, 404-369-3825.
Hello, this is Jimmy. I was sitting on my back porch the other day, and these daggone skeeters kept coming up and biting the shit out of me. So I got on the Amazon, and I ordered me one of them bug zapper thingamajiggers, and I hung it up on my back porch, and my neighbor came over to carry some bitch, and he stuck his damn finger in it and burnt the hell out of the end of his finger. Now, he went home and was yelling and cussing me and telling me he was going to sue me. Can I sue him for just being a general dumbass, or does he really have a case against me? Should I be worried? Do I need to hire an attorney? I'll hang up and listen.
Like he's live. I'll hang up and listen.
He has no case against you. If you're stupid enough to like stick your hand in a flame or something like that, you're fine. You don't need to hire an attorney, and I don't know anybody that would take a case like that or what the damage would be to a burnt finger.
Like when my daughter started having friends over the house and we got this trampoline, I went out and got an umbrella policy through my insurance company because I was terrified.
Well, the trampoline has known risks to it as far as that goes. So when you put it out there, you're inviting it. But if you've got a bug zapper sitting out there and it's designed properly and made, I mean, I think everybody knows don't stick your finger in the bug zapper because that's a hot thing. It can't be called what's called an attractive nuisance or something like that where you were negligent in putting that out there.
Yeah.
So I think you're fine. I think it's just thinning the herd, as we call it.
All right.
What if you like tripped and hit your face on it? Could you sue him then?
Well, I mean, if you had put it in a place that was negligent, I don't think so. I mean, how are you going to hit your face if it's hanging from the ceiling, I guess?
I don't know. Maybe you're like walking down the stairs and they got it like on one of those like bird feeder hangers.
I mean, I'm
And you
sure
just
you could
trip and
come
hit
up
your
with
face.
something where it's out there, but I would be seriously doubtful as far as that goes. Plus, you have homeowners insurance, so if there is a claim, this gentleman gets a claim, his homeowners will cover it.
Brandon, do you have a story to share that you hit your head on a?
No,
hanging
I just got a
television?
bug zapper upstairs. I'm gonna put out somewhere. You got to make sure I put it in the right place.
Just worried that one of your friends is gonna burn themselves and sue you and take you for every $1.50 you have. Before I get to the second voicemail, Nate, did you have any questions for Manny? Or do we move on? I thought you saw you.
Yeah, I was wondering. I mean, I probably know the answer to this, but if you is it technically illegal for a lawyer to sleep with their client, or is it just like a conflict of interest? Like, can they be charged if that happens?
It's just a conflict of interest. It's not a crime. It's a bar violation. But I always tell people if you're going to do it, I don't know why it's a violation because then you'd think you'd work a lot harder for them if you're sleeping with them too. But there's two things in ethics class they teach you. Don't commingle funds and don't sleep with your clients. Other than that, it's pretty much a free-for-all.
That'd be tough, though. I mean, you're like totally in the power position as an attorney. Why'd you ask that question?
Oh, I was with the inventing Anna. I was kind of thinking of
Manny sleeping with
Casey
Anna?
Anthony.
She's in
Well,
prison.
no, like
Don't tell her.
with her being like young and good looking. I was thinking about the Casey Anthony trial where there was like rumors that Jose Baez was maybe, sleeping with or doing something with Casey Anthony.
Was there really?
Don't start
yeah.
any rumors, man.
I don't see him doing that. He like Jose Baez is, from what I've heard, like an extremely legit diehard family guy. I don't see him sleeping with Casey Anthony. I never heard that. We lived that trial.
Oh yeah, that was one of the most common rumors the whole time because she's young and good looking. He's young and charismatic. Yeah, that was a huge rumor.
I remember when we had Geraldo Rivera. Were you there on the show when we had Geraldo on? And it was like, so we were in Orlando during the Casey trial, right? And so a lot of the players we already knew.
Yeah.
And a lot of the friends that she had and places that she would go to, we knew and we would go to. So, so when the trial was on, we would run the trial during the show. I was doing a midday talk show on Real Radio, and it would be kind of like Mystery Science Theater. So we would pull it up, pull it down, and we'd make comments throughout the whole thing. It was a blast. And it was actually really, really good radio. I don't know what my point was here to it, but the Casey Anthony stuff, like there were things that didn't, the Jose Baez. So there was a day that Jose Baez just really did some stupid things in the courtroom. They were kind of so stupid it was funny. And so we had Geraldo on, and he was in town covering the trial, and I had said like something negative about Jose Baez, and he jumps down my throat. And I'm listening, I'm going, why are you so defensive of him? He's like, we've known each other. They grew up together. You know, they're both the same ethnicity, and they grew up together. And he's like, we vacation every year on this island. It's like, oh shit, like foot and mouth, dummy. That was like the worst mistake I could have. You know, that interview ended very quickly too.
I'm reading there was actually even some kind of lawsuit or something. Dominic Casey made an accusation against Jose Baez, saying that he overheard him saying to her that he was she had to give him oral sex for this case or something like that. So yeah, it got in the lawsuit. I mean, it was probably just them trying to get some publicity.
I do remember that. I do remember that part. I do. I don't believe it, but I do remember that part. All right, here's next voicemail.
Yes, hello, this is Shane. I had a quick question. I was pulled over, and I was smoking a CBD pre-roll that I got at a local vape shop. And when I got pulled over, the police officer stated that he could smell marijuana, and I told him that it was CBD, and even showed him the packaging saying that it was CBD, and he didn't believe me and proceeded to search my car. What were my legal rights? Did I have a right to refuse his search, or did I have to allow him to search my vehicle? Like, how does that work? What are the laws regarding that type of thing? Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, so if the officer says he smells marijuana in your car, then theoretically they have probable cause to search your car. I would suggest to everybody, never consent to a search of your car. You never have to. But if they say that they've got cause, then they'll search it, and then you'll hire a lawyer and we'll fight it and hopefully get the stuff suppressed. There's been a huge problem in Georgia because a form of marijuana is legal here now. If it's got 0.3%, it's called Delta 8 or Delta 10. And there's been all these cases where the Gwinnett County, tried to arrest some convenience store owners for selling those valid products that are out there. And so we've had a couple of those thrown out in court when my office has represented those folks and, getting their money back. It's just the cops don't understand it. But the rule is if it's less than 0.3% THC in the product, you can now buy it. And that's why convenience stores sell a lot of these things, and CBD is the same thing. As long as it's less than 0.3%, it's legal.
Yeah, we should have Brandon go out there and with a bunch, different amounts of weed and see what he can get away with on the streets of Noonan.
But that's how you get the gummies and stuff like that, guys. I mean, you can buy that at any CBD shop or a convenience store. It's the 0.3 gummies, or it's Flying Monkey, or this and that is what they call it.
Look
That's
at
all
you.
legal.
Yeah.
Well, I had to learn all this stuff because we won a couple of cases, defending folks out there. It's just the cops are like, well, there's THC testing positive, but you have to know the amount.
What's your street name? Do you have like some like gangster street name? Are you out there like Man Dog or something?
I wish. That's actually a pretty good one. I was going to call myself the Bushwhacker. But, that's
Machete Manny.
Here comes Man the Man Dog. All right, here's another one. I wanted to know if the federal court system take online community service hours in capital for whatever, or do they have to be done in person? They're screaming. Also, what is asked as proof of community service hours, Tyler?
Well, if you're on federal probation, they call it supervised release, and the probation officer can decide whatever community service, that they want you to do. And the proof is the community service location just writes a letter or sends an email, an official email saying that you did 40 hours, 80 hours, whatever it is. So yes, you can do it anyway as long as it's authorized by your probation officer.
All right. One last one here. A merchant claimed to have an item in stock, a pre-order I paid over $600 for. I never received it. I was supposed to get it last April 2021. I asked for a refund, and they refused to respond. I filed a dispute with my credit card, and the merchant forged their documents to win their case against me. The question: since I have proof they committed forgery and fraud, and since they got away with forgery and fraud, can I file a lawsuit against the merchant? Frank.
Yes, you can. So if you go to
Really?
magistrate court, that's sort of the equivalent in Georgia of the people's court. So you go out there, you pay your $35 fee, you file the complaint, and you have up to a $15,000 claim you can make in magistrate court. So take your receipts, the paperwork, whatever you have, and say, hey, I ordered this, I paid this, and the product never came, and you should be successful. And I would ask for the $600 back plus a few hundred more for your aggravation and all those other things. But you have up to a $15,000 limit in the people's court here in Georgia.
How much money can you get for that aggravation stuff? Like, look, they owe me $1,000, but this was a pain in the ass, Judge. I need an extra $500.
Well, it depends. You have to say I spent X number of hours, or I missed this much work,
Oh.
or this happened. So you got to be able to sort
Quantify
of categorize it or quantify it,
Yeah.
in some way. So you'll get a reasonable amount for it, especially if the other person's being stubbornly litigious, which is what it sounds like. I mean, if I paid you and you didn't give me the stuff, that's as close to theft as you can be.
Mr. Bailey, how'd you come up with that number? I don't know. I just made it up, but it sounds really good. I've always wanted $38,524 in my bank account. Okay. Any messages? Again, for Manny, 404-369-3825. Please load up that voicemail, and we'll play him next time Manny's in. The AuroraLawFirm.com. Any of your defense needs, specializing in criminal law, the Arora Law Firm can help you out. If you have a Netflix documentary made about you and you need Manny, he's like the Netflix guy. You're the Netflix. That's what we're gonna start calling you, Manny Arora, the Netflix attorney.
Well, it's just good you don't know that many lawyers then.
Well,
I'll be at the top of the list.
You're the only one we know that's represented somebody from Netflix. That's pretty cool. And I think it'll be like maybe every quarter there will be a new blockbuster documentary, and Manny's going to come in and be like, yeah, have you guys seen, Shrinking Sarah? Yeah, I'm representing Sarah.
All I know is I want Brandon and I want Nate to tell me if I win this appeal, I got to have George Clooney play me because I've got the age on me now. What do you think?
Yeah, I agree.
I like it.
On part two.
Great
Hopefully
idea.
Nate will like it better that time.
I think
that asshole lawyer.
I think George Clooney's like kind of retired from acting, but the lawyer that represents her in the documentary, my wife Rachel, she asked me, she goes, "Is that supposed to be Manny?" And I said, "No, Manny's post this documentary." And she's like, "Oh my God, the guy kind of looks like Manny." So the guy that's in the documentary looks like you. So people that are listening to us probably are just, not putting it together. They probably think that's you, the guy that's screwing up.
Well, that means he's got hair and all that stuff, right? Because her trial attorney in real life is a bald, shaved head gentleman. So.
Oh no, this guy is tan skin like yourself. You're Indian, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I don't know. Is he in? I think he is Indian, right?
He's Iranian born.
Iranian.
Or the actor is.
Okay, so but still tan skin and facial structure very same. Dark hair. There's a similarity, right, Nate? I'm not crazy here.
That's bizarre
yeah,
because
definitely.
usually they try to find people that sort of look like the person. So that's
Yeah.
a little surprising because she is a Caucasian bald guy.
He looks
representing her.
nothing like it. Now, what before we end, what about the other players in the Anna case? Past, present, possibly future. Do you have to talk to any of those, or is this just something totally separate? All that stuff's in the past.
Most of that stuff's in the past. The appeal is just basically what's on the paper and the errors made during the trial and some of the comments that were made. I mean, for example, she got a 3 to 14 or 2 to 14, something like that sentence before she got parole, which is very, very high for $198,000. I mean, we've had cases in the millions getting less than 6 months. So the diatribe from the court and things like that about, I'm going to make an example out of you because you have all these followers. A lot of the publicity came back to bite her in the ass. And
Yeah.
so that's what we're trying to prevent, to do it properly as her lawyers.
Gotcha.
So even if you could win the legal thing, you're still losing the war as far as that goes, because the judges don't want to be looked as soft in the whole press.
What I'm getting at is, in any of your packets in your office, do you have a contact sheet with all of the players, like Chase, the black girl that works at the hotel? She's awesome. She's like my favorite character. I forget her name. Do you have any of those numbers?
I'm sure I have something somewhere. I'll have to talk to my assistants on it, but it's not going to be relevant, unfortunately, for the appeal.
Brandon, I just need you to go through the Manny list and just give it to all. Just go through and get them all on, okay?
Just cold call everybody.
Just cold call, say, hey, it's Brandon from the BS
Won't be on the
podcast.
podcast.
we know Manny. You don't know? Okay, tell you what. Why don't you come on the show, because we like the Netflix thing. All right.
Just don't be mean to him.
All right, yeah. Don't let Nate call him. You call him. Nate's going to be mean. Nate's like Mr. Grumpy Pants about Anna and her friends. The Aurora. Who would you want to talk to, Nate? Out of everybody that's on the show, who would you want to talk to?
Like in real life,
Yeah,
or
yeah, real
or
life.
actor wise?
No, real life.
Either I guess I don't remember how far you are in. Have they gone on this trip yet with the friends to Morocco?
No.
Okay.
She just got back.
those.
She just got back from Ohio and met Chase's parents, and then she's now living with the Fire Festival guy. and she's getting ready to close the deal with the bank. That's where I'm at.
Okay. No, yeah, I'd rather either talk to the girl in the hotel, the black chick that's like kind of she works the front.
Yeah.
Yeah. Either her, because she is like delusional with Anna. Like she just thinks that I don't know. She hasn't done as much for her as I think she has. And then also this friend that I can't remember if she works for Vogue or some big magazine or whatever, that she goes on this trip to Morocco with her, that kind of gets screwed over. I'd like to, because she, in the very end, she really gets screwed over. And so I'd like to talk to her about it.
Yeah. I think it would be the black girl from the hotel, but she's fantastic. And because I agree with you. Chase, the boyfriend, because I got a lot of questions that the Manhattan chick isn't asking. But the girl that works at the Manhattan that did the story, I'd like to talk to her. She's probably actually obtainable. I don't know who she is, but it should be good. Anyway, all right. The AuroraLawFirm.com. Get a hold of Manny. You need him. He's the best in the business. Thanks for stopping by. We'll see you soon, okay?
All right. Thanks, guys.